Thank you very much. What is doing an hardware vendor here in DevOps Days? Wow, that's impressive. I believe DevOps community did big steps in one end, and I bring my experience in HPE. Thank you. Yep. I bring my experience in HPE as we are evolving as well. We reshaped. You can see the new logo. It's already some years. Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So we divided from laptop and printers to more enterprise business. And today we are going to talk about idea economy. That is, let's say, something finally mature. The first time we will see, we started talking about idea economy was 2007, so more than 10 years. And the relative technology stacks that are evolving as well, evolved in the years, in the time, and which are the right choices to take in this age. So a bit about me. I'm working here in Geneva. Hopefully I have the chance to work here. We have the labs for IoT, HP labs. So it's one of the 3 worldwide labs for the innovation in IoT platforms. And we have the Customer Innovation Center, where we bring as well the latest platforms with together with the full stack of solutions for bigger or medium or small enterprises. And going back on one of the questions, which is the difference between your platform, a platform that is more used in enterprises, I believe the quality of platforms, of overall solutions, it's play the key role in adopting. So even if a platform or a service is not so common, let's say, it has a big chance to grow. And I don't know if, yeah, it works. And I believe we should create a bit of context to understand the idea economy we are living in. And this is a common view people have. There's a traditional business with the big structures, difficult to shake. It's the typical environments where it's difficult to change role in a dynamic way, as we were saying during the day. And then there's the ecosystem of the startups. By the way, who is in this way? Who is working in startups in those environments? Okay, so maybe we are more in a traditional business. Okay, wow. My view is this. It's that we are all together in the same ecosystem. And when we hear like unicorns, wow, this startup is disruptive, is a unicorn, they are doing 1 billion in 3 years, it's unbelievable. I believe those are the new research and development of the traditional business. There's a continuous exchange. I will not go in the details of the external factors that go within the startups and traditional business. But what I believe is that finally, nowadays, there's a sort of a synergy between the 2 worlds. And finally, listening the needs of big enterprises, the way to build new businesses within big traditional companies is to create new streams, internal startups, or onboarding already existing successful startups. And that's quite exciting, I would say. So going more deep in the organization structure that we used to see, that's the picture of a traditional business where there's a quite precise, let's say, structure where the IT, that is what concerns us, it's managed by the CTO normally. And then there's a dedicated research and development team. Usually it is overloaded of job, and the biggest part of the employees are working on the processes, on the standards of the company, and then leveraging at 100%, we were talking about Toyota model, 100%, no waste of the machines if we are talking about a productive company, of the core business with the classical analytics. And this is really the direction companies are taking. And this is not a vision for the future, this is something that is happening now. I see in customers really the volunteer, they want to change. And no matter, there's no magic capex to invest in AI, robotics. This is clearly something that helps, but is not killing the jobs. As you can see, it's freeing up space to dedicate to what was R&D before and now are corporate startups. So internal initiatives, new projects, onboarding new startups, that's the trend. And a role that is, of course, not disappearing, but is not relevant as before. I say sorry if there's somebody is CTO now, is the CTO that it's embedded in the overall structure. And as you can see, it's more relevant a COO role, or there's a more direct relationship between the IT and the business. And that's the way we are going. It's tremendously true, where the IT is answering the business needs, and it comes, I believe, from the customer needs. We are starting to listen the customer needs, and we understand that if we want a company, our enterprise to survive, we don't have to base the models on the past, where an enterprise had a 100 years life cycle, but start to understand that we have to reshape the business every 5 years, every 2 years in the most extreme examples. I'm not saying that your company that you are building today is going to fail in 2 years. No. I'm saying that it has to be way more flexible than it was before. I will make some examples. If you think about TV, it was 50, 75 years before taking the 60, 70% of penetration in the house, in the homes of people in USA. 50, 75 years. Then, if you think about a smartphone with a quite fruity logo that I believe most of you have, like you are texting maybe now on one of those. Yes, in the first 4 years, so first 2 editions of iPhone, yes, in the first 4 years, they took the 1/3 of market share of smartphone. That's quite already more interesting, more shrinked. And then they reshaped, we know the story about. And a few weeks ago, I was reading about a video game, one of those where you have to shoot and build, and I'm too old already for those kind of games. They didn't advise, they didn't have a marketing campaign, they just published the game online, free, and then we know the model. They are gonna add some paid options to make it more cool or more powerful. And in the first day, they had 5 million users. In the first week, 10 million users, and it was already one of the record broken. We are talking about 1 week. It's unbelievable. They had more than 1 million users, concurrent users, and that was, I believe, another record broken. And maybe in some months, if they don't reshape the model, if they become boring like all the competition, they will disappear. Or if there's such flexibility that we are advising, we are seeing, we can finally see the model of the enterprise, of the success of the enterprise. So talking about success, so I do a last step, it's quite a step back about the context of the idea economy. The main 4 disruptors, I believe, changed a bit the needs of the customers, because in the end it's from there that is coming, where on the mobility, we talk already about smartphones, cloud, that today is super mature, and we are starting to see different shapes of cloud, private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, unbelievable cloud, everything as a service. Big data to analyze the big amount of interesting and super valuable information we are exchanging on our smartphones. And more than exchanging, we are sharing those, open to the public. And in 2007 was tremendously interesting. Now it's something daily, the social media, the social networks. So in this beautiful picture, what was happening in the traditional companies was total panic. Why? Because this world, with those factors, needs a speed never seen before, low latency of communication, low latency of reaction. If me, company, have a full step, it is going to be in all the social media instantaneously. So it created a real challenge, a big challenge, a big new needs and new challenges for company, and that's why we see that kind of change. Now, how do we success in such context? I spent like more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes to understand the slide. I will explain you in a few words. It's behavior over the time creates the culture. And I had the pleasure today to listen most of the cultural beliefs that I have, like the culture of failing. We must create in our companies the culture of failing. We must fail many times, try, fail, and we should share this culture in the company so that people are more confident, employees are more confident to proceed with their ideas or with the company ideas. Because even the company strategy could represent some fails, the first, the second, third time, and then finally go to success. This is the first step to pursue the success. Then the culture of DevOps. I believe DevOps model shouldn't be limited to the IT world. I would advise to extend the culture of DevOps in the overall organization, talking with the CXO level. When there's the chance to have a DevOps community within the company, it must be in contact with the line of the board of business, the line of business of the company. And the model is so successful, as we see today, that can influence it in a positive way, the line of business of your companies. And finally, the culture of being continuous. It's like when you pursue to go to the gym. If you go one time and then you get bored and then you are too tired, you are not constant, you will not make the shape you want. If you insist, you are constant, you have the culture to be continuous, you are gonna get the objective. In the same way, in the IT, in the big organizations, if we are continuous with the strategy, even if we fail many times, it's here that we are going to succeed. So about the success, a part of the customer that we must hear in every single day it's a common understanding. I believe nobody will not agree on this. I would like to share with you some of the core values that we have, like partnering. Don't think to be alone in the ecosystem. If you have an amazing idea, share it. And try to find the right partners to build a good ecosystem. It's not anymore the time to create the company with a full stack solution and the customer has to come only to me. No, it's not the case anymore. Doesn't work, we know. Then innovation. We must have a vision on the innovation. We cannot create things only for the business in this moment. The ecosystem that it requires, the consumer, the customer that is on the top, requires the innovation. And finally, act. Act always. Don't waste time thinking about how would I do something? I should maybe better. No, act. We must take instant actions. Then I added something personal that I believe it's the game changer in the building of companies. It's the ethics. This doesn't have any direct return in matter of business. We cannot measure how much I have as a return if I'm ethically correct. But since we are listening our customers and we are going to the customers with a message as companies, the customer will have for sure its own ethic. And if the ethic reflects, it's going to be for sure better. It's going to be for sure a success. And lastly, we have many, many tools to put in action to concretize the business. And then I mentioned it, the same thinking, Agile, DevOps we have, and Lean Startup, Toyota model. Try to find something that matches your business and to find something that is already standardized and recognized. That's quite important. We have the tools. We are not, let's say, alone in a bubble. We were saying partner and leverage what it's already in the ecosystem. This is, for instance, the view of combining multiple models. I believe Gartner a couple of years ago already published something similar. And I will not go in the details of what is the meaning of each of the steps and the difference between the models, how they can cooperate. Maybe you know better than me that. But I believe it's important to understand where you are now. If you are more in an abstract level, more concrete, which is the maturity of your business in this moment. And those tools are very, very tremendously helpful in this, both in understanding and in developing for the future. A petit problème. Okay, we got it. That's fine. Thank you. So, as I said, we apply those models to create concrete outcomes, listening our customers. That's the moment to be customer-centric. We must listen the customer. And this is the analysis at HP we did. We started analyzing the history of IT, and we understood that there's quite a ping pong of the model, of the computational or resources, going from the first model, a mainframe, where physically the administrator had to go in the data center and connect to the big silos that was doing one task, only that. And the technology was that in that moment. Then we changed to what we call today the traditional IT, so client server. And we started having more computational power in our hands. The laptop where we are typing now, we are sending emails in this moment, those have the computational power. We were able to distribute the workload. We were able to distribute the resources. And of course, there was the server side with the backend engine with much more computational power, but it was distributed. Then, some years ago, pop-up of cloud trend. And then we go back to the centralization. Our laptop doesn't look so powerful anymore. Even if I have this gaming GPU, no, it's almost useless. I need to connect to the cloud. Why? Not only because of the resources, but because I have more flexibility. I'm more agile. I have models like pay-per-use, as we were seeing just before. And all of those new features made a quite standard world where we are working now. And now, the next step, as I was saying, it's like a ping pong, looks to be the edge computing. So again, we are moving the more resources, more computational power at the edge, where we need the computational close to the data. I will make a very close example to what we have here in Switzerland. With the SBB, it's the railway, the federal railway company. So they have computational power on the trains, sometimes even offline, to supply the core of the core IT of the trains, of the communication within the departments. And then they have the consumer experience, where there's the consumer with the typical apps on the smartphones that sends orders and information from the smartphone to the cloud. So we still have the cloud phase. And then for the more secure tasks, like purchasing the tickets, we supply to the data center of SBB. So we are, with this use case, an overall stack from the edge to the cloud and to the data center, according with the needs. So more in details on the model, on the technology stack that I'm presenting today. The edge finally brings what we need on the consumer data. So it's a data-centric model. I believe it is going to be the new oil in the next year, the information as consumer we produce. And we don't need to wait that the data go to the cloud or to the data center of each of the company. We will need a distributed system of edge computing in order to compute it, to elaborate, to apply maybe some machine learning, deep learning algorithms, and have outcomes on the edge. That's the real point. And of course, as the example as I did just before with SBB, we are living in the hybrid experience. So it's not anymore a challenge if I should relay more on the cloud, relay more in my data center, managed services. There are some workloads that are more for the cloud, where I need the flexibility and are not so critical. There are some other workloads or some other policies from the companies where I need the data center. And that's the point of having an hybrid IT, where we should build a bridge between the two. Many companies already did this. It's still not topic how to build this bridge between the cloud, the data center, creating a private cloud, maybe, for having the same experience in-house. So in the new stack, in the new technology stack where we have those new actors, the edge, the hybrid with the new bridges and this enormous amount of data to manage, to leverage, because in the end it's valuable. We can really extract value from the data. Imagine with the cars, with the autonomous cars, in a few years, the amount of information, valuable information, they will start to produce. Those will make money. It's a business in the end. And those data from whom are going to be managed? From companies that are able to get in the market of the edge. And a strategy can be built around the edge distributed model. And I divided it in three, on sustainability between people, economics, and technology. So it's not anymore, we don't anymore talk only about technology. We must take the overall view. And from people, what I always hear from the CIO, from the CXO discussions, please tell me how do I do DevOps? Like, I don't have DevOps. Tell me what I have to do. How much does it cost? It happens often. And one of the way like another, it's to implement some platforms that can help to create, to take a subset of, to create a separate team that starts to have the culture that we were seeing before. And for instance, the agility of the change of the mindset we will see later of people, it's interesting for the companies. And when we look in the LinkedIn sometime, we find this funny DevOps engineer. And sometimes I stop and think, what is a DevOps engineer? Which are the skills of the DevOps engineer? Which school? IT, okay, or computer science? Well, what is the computer engineer? I believe this is the answer. We have two kinds of people. Maybe because of the study tracks they did, maybe because of the experiences and the companies they worked for. We have the fixed mindset, where the task is that one, and it's very difficult, I'm going to change it. And I saw during the morning very interesting models to incentivize, to change from the fixed mindset to the growth mindset, open mindset. And that's, I believe, the answer to send to those job post DevOps engineer. Yes, I am the green guy. That's, I believe, the explanation, what they are looking for. There's no magic, no magic skill, no magic experience to provide, but really an attitude. On economics, I will make the very relevant example of Dropbox. I believe most of us know they had tremendous growth in their business, and they started on a public cloud provider. So they relied the infrastructure on a public cloud, and then the model was super good, the trend was super good, the users were happy, feedbacks, they saw the users were using way more than the beginning, but the economical model to rely the infrastructure to the public cloud 100% on the public cloud was not sustainable. So sometimes we have amazing ideas, amazing products, amazing platforms, but under the economical perspective, there are some choice to be retaken. And in the case of Dropbox, they started a big project of re-centralization of in their own data centers. And then it adjusted the economics as well. It is going pretty well under the economical perspective. So I will oversimplify the thing with this nice picture. It's quite famous. And the economical approach of building a business could be the first one, that it's definitely wrong. We start with an amazing idea to have an amazing Ferrari, performant, but in the first stage, I can only build the wheels. And I will have to wait way long before get the latest point. And the latest point in that case will be the idea that I had in mind. I wanted to build that product, and I will go there. But maybe the effort that I put to reach that point is not so worth. Why? Because I didn't listen my customers. I listen myself, and myself is not all my customers. I start with something that customers want now, with the vision of innovation of the product that I start selling now. And what I discover is that they don't care about performance. They want the wind in the ears. And then I have a magic cabrio in the end. So more in technical vision, at the really beginning, we have almost nothing to offer, a very limited set of products when I start a business, because that's life. When I start, I cannot start big with what I offer. But the value is super high because I'm offering something unique. It's not in the market. And we go back to the advice I was giving before. Don't let the ideas remain in the head. Act, put in the market. Then, passing in the time, I will go incrementally in the innovation of the product. No matter if it's a software, if it's a physical product, a platform, I incrementally improve it. And it's there that the competition starts looking, or maybe I get more aligned because it's market, it's like this. And I'm not unique anymore, but gaining over time, when my product will be mature, if I spend the time listening at my customers, the gross value will increase exponentially because it will be just successful. And last point on the technology, we spent already some words about the technology stack we refer now, and we should adjust our business too. And the important step under the technological point of view is to understand the maturity of my technological environment, which is the stage of my company, of my IT organization. Not only, the real answer is not only IT. Even if I'm in the maturity model of IT, how it is related to the processes of my company. Because if I have the most mature, I will explain now the different stages. If I have the most mature model of IT, but it doesn't match the business, the core needs of my company, it will remain an amazing IT department alone. The company will not benefit from it. And same is for the people, for the service management levels, and all the components that are in the context of a company. So if you wonder which of the stages we believe gives the maturity to an IT department, to IT, are from the lowest, siloed, like having one workload optimized with one platform, so really blocks. Then the next step is to leverage the virtualization. I believe this is already common in most of the companies. There's somebody that still is in the first stage. And then finally, we start having what is commonly recognized as service-oriented. So a catalog, what we believe is useful with today the containers, giving services. And if we go in the latest two levels, we get orchestration. We can, the third and fourth levels are quite linked. But there are some companies where they give a huge layer of catalog without, so a huge layer of services without an optimized orchestration. In the moment you get an optimized orchestration, you are really in a very good maturity level of IT. And the last stage, I already told you in the beginning, in the middle, and now, it's to orient the IT to the business. Listen the customer that my business has, and then I orient all my services, all my implementation. Even if I'm doing a code, I have to go in the big picture, which is going to be the benefit of my code for the customer of my company. And in that case, I really go in the fifth stage of the maturity. Now, I used to call this the new waterfall. You are going to kill me for this. So, basically, I believe each of the startups or of the new businesses need to rely on a very consistent and recognized models. And that's why I choose which are the most relevant for me. And according with the stage of the new business or of the new company, the startup, we can apply models like the design thinking, where we really start from the idea, we reshape it, understanding this idea how helps the customer, and what really wants the customer, which problem would have the customer, and how I'm gonna solve the problem of the customer. Then, from the idea, I concretize it. Immediately, I act. And I go for hackathons, I create prototypes, I go to conference to show my idea, I get feedbacks, no, look, this is bullshit. Yes, I fail, and I get always better in an iterative way. So no, it's not waterfall anymore. And then it comes a moment to deploy, to put in production. Even if I believe it's too early, I have to do the first step. And it's there that the agile methodologies, DevOps community helps in this, to do it in the most smooth way, most effective way, killing the waste and going straight to the point. And finally, when I reiterate the production, I'm putting the blocks I showed you before, and I get the full maturity, I'm in the full operational way. And it's there that I make it even more consistent. I'm able to enlarge my business. So the message, apart of the big ping pong of technology. It's that idea economy is not everything but ideas. It's the way you decide to develop your idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Raffaele. Thank you. And are there any questions for Raffaele? No? Anyone I cannot see? Yes, there are a couple.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I would like to ask something. I have some clue, but I want to have your point of view. Within a big traditional company,
Yep.
when you're people from IT, your customer and they explain it to you every day is the line of business. It's not your end user. The ones that you meet outside networks, outside work, they give you some feeling, some idea about your company, but your line of business that know the customer better than you, an IT guy, is
Si tu veux, en français, ça va
voilà.
aussi.
Donc, excuse-moi.
Voilà.
Ah, je m'entraîne, hein,
Non,
je
non,
fais
non,
des
ça va,
efforts.
ça va. Ouais, je n'ai pas précisé avant. Ça va.
Donc, nos spécialistes de business nous disent que non, on doit aller vers une direction qui semble illogique. Nous, en tant que vraiment spécialistes IT, comment on peut faire en fait?
Ok. Oui, je comprends très très bien le contexte. Et c'est suivant qu'on a de requis business que bloquent l'initiative IT, premier challenge, ou ils demandent des choses impossibles à faire. Il y a beaucoup d'exemples. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait dans le cas? C'est si on a la possibilité, on prend le temps d'analyser. C'est pas, il doit être pas les deux cas. Ils ne sont pas un cas de rupture, de breaking point. Quand il y a un challenge d'un certain type, il faut prendre le temps, si on a la possibilité, si le business ils veulent, il faut prendre le temps pour utiliser l'opportunité de la challenge pour développer un modèle nouveau, soit de IT, soit du business. Il faut développer quelque chose de nouveau. Ça, c'est une première approche. Parfois, il n'y a pas de temps. Il faut prendre une décision. Et dans le cas là, c'est très très bien d'utiliser les approches qu'on a déjà vues dans le slide, où on comprend où on est dans la maturité et concrétesse du problème. Parce que si le business il demande un truc que c'est totalement abstrait aujourd'hui, on peut identifier et comprendre qu'est-ce que ça va le mieux comme approche à appliquer pour faire que je vais créer quelque chose de matériel pour le business. Voilà. Donc, il faut prendre une action dans la part de l'IT s'il y a une restriction forte sans temps pour discuter. Donc, il faut utiliser le tool qu'on a à disposition, individuer où on est dans le cadre et appliquer, prendre une action. Voilà. C'est ça un peu la réaction qu'on fait.
Merci pour ton avis.
Yeah. So, Raffaele, you kind of set a high bar there when you talked about ethics in the enterprise. So you're kind of, I guess, bringing this question onto yourself. How much have you seen that You know, how much of an open field to kind of apply ethical, you know, business
So
have you seen from
Sure.
talking to
Sure.
the kind of C-level executives?
So I come from a nice experience of 2 months dealing with 2 big customers, one governative, one private, in the Emirates area. And there, the ethic on the competition between companies doesn't exist. There's no ethics. That's one of the challenges, for instance. And since I showed you, I strongly believe in ethics, I was totally disaligned to the competitors on those experiences. And the customer, it was so clear, crystal clear, that I was disaligned to the customers, that I created interest. Not business interest, but curiosity from the customer that had the culture to listen from the suppliers, a quite strong competitional with no ethics at all, doing a finger pointing between the competitors. And that only applying the ethic created the interest from the customer and a kind of human relation. Then no matters if my company, my business was better than the others, was the chosen one. No, for me the success is that I had a human relation with the customer. Then I could have failed, okay? The important point is that it was successful to maintain a certain ethic in the way to operate. I took this example, I believe it's quite relevant to answer your question.